Good day, relatives. I hope this finds you well. Wanted to share how excited I am about the upcoming elections. Excited, you might ask? What's going on with this intense polarization, the uncertain economic future? One way to name this is to say that we're in a crisis. The great thing about a crisis is that the fecund soil, the beautiful, supportive energies to go through a complete transformation, right? These intense challenges that we're facing, this is not the first time that humanity has faced these, right? The apocalypse was talked about at the end of the modern world. The wrath of God had been unleashed, and this has happened throughout history, right? The ancient Greeks call it kairos, the perfectly ripe moment for the complete transformation of how we understand the world to work, how life to operate, and our place within it. So, what is being reborn? I would say that the OG American dream, right? A land of the free, where we have the liberty to pursue our desires, our wants, and that we can make a living out of that, right? You brave soul. That's what it's supporting, this whole crisis thing for you to find, to trust your inner calling, to find your unique and vital gift, to make your dreams, your visions, your goals, your aspirations an embodied experience. That is the opportunity that is being set before us. That resolves all the challenges politically, economically, culturally, technologically, spiritually, all of them, right? So let's start with the one that kind of has us most worried, our economy, right? This uncertain economic future as more and more jobs are outsourced and replaced by AI. We are going through an immense transformation. Our education business is going from investing tens and tens of thousands of dollars for a piece of paper that means less and less. What's replacing that is our online, our self learning, our education, self education business, right? This is one of the few industries that has been blossoming, that it's in the billions right now, predicted to go into the trillions. What does this mean, right? You're not going to outcompete the machine, right? What cannot be replaced is you, my brave soul, what's inside of you. You can make a living by doing what you love, whether that's juggling, how to parent better, how to draw better, whatever it is that moves you. People are looking for experts to learn from, right? You can make a living doing what you love. The challenge is that the vast majority of us have a set of limiting stories and beliefs about ourselves and how the world operates that keeps us constricted from taking action. Our trauma. Our trauma is the gatekeeper into our creativity, into being able to find our gift and making a sustainable, reliable living, right? What a twist in the plot. You can make a living by doing what you love. Now, how does that resolve the whole bigger bag game? I'd like to share a story, right? Stories, right? That's how we used to, for the vast majority of our history, we understood our place in the world. We had knowledge through logos and mythos, logic, reason, story, feelings. We've gone way into the logos, so let me drop a couple of stories with you so hopefully they can orient you in our world. The first story that I love to drop is the story of the imaginal cells. The story of the imaginal cells starts as a caterpillar, right? The caterpillar, much like our society, is completely devoted to consumption, eating as much as 100 times its own body weight in a day, cutting a path of destruction in its wake. Sound familiar? Once it gains enough resources, has enough energy storage thing, it finds the appropriate perch and starts to build its chrysalis. Once it's completed its chrysalis, it begins to digest itself into a primordial ooze, per se. Right when it's almost 100% ooze, the imaginal cells come online. The imaginal cells hold the blueprint for the butterfly. The challenge is that the ooze perceives the imaginal cells as a disease, as an invader, and starts to attack them. The imaginal cells, being few in number, face overwhelming odds, sort of like dark and nefarious forces threatening everything that's essential and sacred to life. The imaginal cells first operate as individual units, facing these overwhelming odds. Their task is to find each other, to learn to speak the same language, to learn how to communicate, to come together. If they are able to do so, they start building a superorganism. Once they start building that superorganism, there comes a tipping point where they transform the ooze into the butterfly. The amazing, beautiful part of this story is that this is the core map that nature, life, consciousness, the history of humanity follows, right? This is how an idea spreads. There's this people, the innovators that download this idea about 2.5%. Then they start kind of spreading it. And it's the first early adopters. They start speaking the same language. They start communicating. The idea starts becoming hot. Once they reach a tipping point, which is about 13.5%, boom, the idea goes viral. There's that first adapters type thing that start getting it, and then everyone's like, oh wait, I want to be part of the cool crowd, and everyone starts thinking. Then there's the late laggers that are just like, oh shit, I better jump on this train, and boom, the imaginal cell, the idea spreads, right? So you, my dear brave soul, you following your truth, you become the imaginal cell. You become truthful to yourself that guides you towards finding the others, towards forming the superorganism, and transforming the whole kit and caboodle. So economically, bada beam, bada boom, you doing what you love sets you free. The American dream, old school. Let's get it. Politically, right? So to understand the intensity of our time, please, 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 pretty please, take a pause. And let's set our time in history within the larger context of humanity. Human beings emerged about 200,000 years ago. We emerged into a world filled with fangs and claws, teeth. All the predators, virtually most of the predators and prey were stronger, faster than us. We only survived because we learn how to come together and cooperate, right? This enables us to survive, to thrive. Another super amazing part of the story is that we, human beings, are the birth child of two evolutionary trends, right? The first one, as bacteria grew into amoebas, into reptiles, into mammals, into humans, there's this growing and developing and enlarging central nervous system into a human brain that gave us the capacity to reason, to figure things out, right? That gave us more power over the world, that we were no longer subject of our external realm. We could figure things out. With this, we gain a corollary freedom from our instincts. Now, instincts is one of those words that most people disagree with, varies in definition, but I feel we can mostly agree that an amoeba or that a reptile is more free than an amoeba, that a mammal is more free than a reptile, and that humans are more free than a mammal. So once we had this freedom from instincts, we had a problem. We no longer had our gut instinct to tell us, hey, what's up? We had to figure things out. And with this new mind, there was an infinite amount of choices, right? One way to think about this is say you were on a hike. And so now on this hike of life, we needed a map to orient ourselves. How do we get our needs met? What's the world things? Blah, 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 blah. What's our destination? How do we get our food, our needs met, right? So we needed a story, a worldview. The first story, the first worldview that we came up with was that story of the Great Mother. We understood ourselves to be an embedded part within the web of life. We understood that we lived in a universe that was alive and conscious and in constant communication with us. We listened to the rustle of the winds, to the stars above, to the flight of birds. We were in this sacred harmony with the beloved. We saw the world ensouled in the rivers and the mountains. We lived in good relation, right? Some historians refer to this age as the first affluent age, right? Affluent. The reason they call that the first affluent age is because after spending a few hours hunting and gathering, tending care of camp, taking care of their needs, we had the vast majority of our time for leisure to do what we wanted, to follow our inspirations, our intuitions, our imaginations, to be in nature, to be with each other, to make love, to sing songs, to be by the fire, right? Sounds pretty great. Great story. So we live with this for 190,000 years or so. And then about 12,000 years, some humans figured out agriculture, right? Crazy plot story because this really put us into an endless toil with the earth to make a living. On the positive side is that we gained a surplus, right? We could have something for winter, we could do things. And as we gained more and more surplus, we needed a soldier to protect our surplus. So the first hierarchy of income and power inequality came to take hold. And we start getting that distribution where the very few kind of rule over the masses. And then about 6,000 years ago, there was an intense desertification, another climate change that transformed Northern Africa, the Middle East, into China, into a huge desert. The people that used to live in this place, no longer able to sustain themselves from the land, were forced to become nomadic. These nomadic tribes became patriarchal, authoritarian, violent tribes whose standard operation was to kill all the men, rape all the women, and slave all the children. Within a generation or two, the story of the Great Mother was erased from our cultural consciousness. The Great Mother began her migration from the forests, from the rivers, from the oceans, from our bodies into the heavens. This other realm separate from nature that hopefully one day, if we follow all the laws that are bestowed upon us, then hopefully one day we'll make it, right? Oof, what's the story? So then the patriarchy was firmly established. The birth of what's referred to as the Wetiko disease. Wetiko is a term found in virtually all the indigenous tribes of Turtle Island. A term that was used to describe the plague of colonialism, right? Of the white man, of this insanity, of this cannibalistic mindset of killing, destroying, eating our brothers and sisters, completely decimating races, polluting our rivers, polluting the land. Insanity. Wetiko, right? One of these core principles with this whole patriarchy was an insatiable desire for more power and wealth to try to control the outer world, right? kind of makes sense. All these people, they got totally thrown out of the land of the Garden of Eden. So it makes sense that they try to control the world, right? Kind of. So the story keeps evolving. We get colonialism and now it's consumerism, right? Where we're trying to get our satisfaction, to feel safe, to feel that we belong through success, through material world, the old corrupted American dream. Ugh. So throughout this time, what's the power structure is this hierarchy of income and power inequality, where the very few, right, rule over the masses. If we look at the distribution of power and wealth throughout the ages, we find the same distribution from Alexander the Great, the Romans, the Middle Ages, the church, and the modern world now, right? Democracy and capitalism were supposed to set us free, but the reality is that the vast majority of us are oppressed by this violent system, shackled, constrained by mounting debt and rising inflation. This system, that's our true enemy. One of them, they're all kind of interrelated, but this hierarchy of power and equality. And one of the core things about this hierarchy is it's based on power over, right? The vast majority of us are still in that mindset trying to control the outer world, trying to figure out the economic trends, trying to do all these things, and we're being ruled by the external world. You, brave soul, by going on your own quest to find your unique and vital gift, you connect to your internal guidance system. You shift that whole thing and its power within. Again, imaginal cell, as you find this, you find the others, you find the superorganism, you transform the whole thing from power over to power within. Politically, solved. Let me get my notes. Yeah, so culturally, right? Again, what's our media promising us, right? Every single advertisement is like, oh, you'll be fulfilled, you'll be successful, you'll be able to meet your needs if you buy our product, or if you do this, or if you do that. They're trying to sell us to make us believe that something externally, right? Again, the Wetiko disease, it's something that some cannibalistic, some consumption of some outer source is going to bring us fulfillment. No bueno, has not worked. Amazing thing. Throughout the ages, mystical indigenous traditionalists tell us the same thing. The only sustainable and reliable source of love, self-worth, sense of belonging, sense of safety, sense of self-worth is within. What the ancient Greeks called your diamond, what the meditation traditions call your witness, your observer, what the Western mystical traditions call the seat of your soul, the kingdom of heaven within, right? What the East calls the Atman in its eternal dance with the beloved Brahman. To paraphrase Rumi, right? You are the ocean of consciousness embodying this biodynamic meat suit, this droplet. Yet you are the infinite, right? So culturally, boom, bada bing, bada boom. I don't need your shit. I got my inner guidance. I know my safety. Again, to find that sense of safety, we've got to slay what I call the shadow dragons. The shadow dragons is that constriction in your throat when you feel called to speak your truth, that knot in your stomach when you feel called to ask for what you need, the weight on your shoulders when you take on a burden that's not yours to carry and trying to people please those around you, trying to control the other world to get all that love and attention, right? Trying to play that part, do what is expected of you. No bueno, does not work. Old American dream played out. The new American dream, what will set us free, is you being truthful to yourself. epically challenging, right? Because in this time, when you're feeling called, when you feel those shadow dragons, it literally feels as if you were killed if you speak your truth, right? So, trauma hardwired into your survival mechanism starts releasing cortisol, adrenaline. Blood flow grows from your core towards your periphery, ready to fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. The tragic, empowering, hilarious irony is that we're safe 99.9999% of the time, right? We're a supported part of the web of life. Most of the time, there's not a car careening after us. It feels like it. We live in a world that's designed to stress us out. Most of us are worrying, freaking out, anger, anxiety, stressed out, right? The amazing thing is that our trauma, our shadow dragons are within our body. The amazing thing is that gives us access to them, which means we can transform them. We'll get into that a little bit later. But culturally, bada beam, bada boom, solved. Power within, follow your inner guidance. You got everything that you need. You're safe. You're lovable. Thanks, brave soul, for incarnating. Spiritually, the whole paradoxical thing. So, to take a little side tangent here, and to share the Hermetic principles. The Hermetic principles were first shared back in Egypt, and they are found at the heart of virtually all mystical and indigenous traditions. They are being rediscovered by our current science, right? So, as our scientists have been going into their different fields, cosmology, biology, the human brain, how it all works, they're all discovering what Heisenberg and Bohm discovered back when they realm into the infinite space of matter in quantum physics. Underneath all this apparent duality, all these things, there's one thing: source, creation, right? The Tao. And these principles, the first one is mentalism, which is basically that underneath all apparent dualities is this oneness. In this oneness, that there's a correspondence, as above, so below, that there's this fractal physics that as I shift my inner world, the outer world changes, as the outer world, the inner world changes, in this co-creative participation. In this ocean of consciousness, energy, life, all matter, all things are vibrating. There's a pulsation, right? Light, frequency, sound, there's vibration. This vibration exhibits a polarity, right? What they've always shared also, that there's a yin and a yang, a black and a white. For anything, there's this duality. That's the duality. We went from the one into this holographic Maya of duality. In this duality, there's a natural rhythm and polarity. For every birth, there's a growth, there's a death. For every day, there's a night. For every high, there's a low. That's just how it is. Natural rhythm and polarity towards life. And all of this has a natural cause and effect, right? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Physics. For its cause and effect, most of us are the effect right now. We are the effect of the outer world, outwardly soars, power over, bada beam, bada boom, shift that, you become the cause in your life, right? Marcus Aurelius, sword of discernment, key, fundamental, simple, epically challenging. What's within your control? You can keep worrying about all the political, economic things that are out of your control as an individual, or you can focus on what is within your control, right? Become the imaginal self. Find your truth. That helps you find the others, and that helps you shift the whole thing around, right? The last principle is gender. And this, for me, is the essence of the journey that we're in. That in this polarity, duality type thing, that we all have a yin and a yang within us, a male and a female, a receptive and an action. And that the quest is to find that inner balance. And once we find that inner balance, boom, tejidos gamos. We find the imaginal self, we become the cause, set the whole world free, right? So, spiritually, we solve this whole thing again by finding your truth. What is your dream, brave soul? What calls you forth? Now, last one, technology, right? All of this technological things. The amazing part, the most amazing technological piece of machinery on this planet is your human biodynamic meat suit, right? How it can replicate, how it heals, and most importantly, right, when you drop in, when you heal your trauma, when we're in trauma, so your brain operates much like music. So these high beta brains, you can think of like high intense techno music or Rage Against the doesn't give you a lot of space. These high beta, where we operate on these stress things, they're super great at getting shit done, right? This is where we store all the things that we've learned, like our trauma of how to survive. But it's also like where we store how we cook rice. So when we're going to cook rice, we don't have to figure out the whole thing. We know how to boil water, we know how to clean it up, we know which pot to use, right? We know how to drive. All those things are stored in these high beta brainwave states where your trauma is also stored. So we see a situation, stimulus, bada bing, bada boom, reaction. Right? The ancient practices of meditation and mindfulness slow you down to create a space between stimulus and reaction. Bear, brave soul. Bear, brave soul. You will find your freedom. You will find all the answers by being able to create a space between stimulus and reaction. As you practice this, as you get the ability to notice when you're being triggered, when you feel you're going to be killed, when it's the 99.99% that you're actually safe, you're able to slow down and get sober to reality. As you get sober to reality, you drop into lower brainwave states, alpha, theta, and here you access your higher cognitive realms, emotional awareness, your true creativity, and your true reason, your actual choice, right? That's where you find your creativity. That's where you find all your answers. Simple, epically challenging. So, one of the practices is meditation. And one of the gifts of meditation is that you learn how to listen to yourself, how to listen to others. It starts developing your ability to understand yourself, to understand others. You're understanding this program of stimulus and reaction. As you come to understand that, as you come deeper into your shadow dragons, into your trauma, you start developing the ability to forgive. Here, oh, sweet Lord, baby Jesus. This is where you start unlocking your transcendental forces, right? Because you're dropping into these lower brainwave states, transcendental in the sense that they bend space and time, that you can go back towards those days when you were in those times, right? And here you begin to tap into your true power, your ability to share love, mercy, and compassion. Imagine that, actually being able to live by the golden rule, held steadfast in virtually all mystical indigenous roots, right? How do you play this game? Treat others how you love to treat yourself. Care for others how you want to treat yourself. Love others as you want. Imagine that. No one to fight, no one to war against, living in cooperation, returning back towards our indigenous and mystical roots. Spirituality solved, right? So back towards the old story of the Great Mother to kind of give you, because it's kind of out of our context. Imagine, right, that you're born into a tribe, into a community, and all the community members, all the tribe members know that you're a gift from Creator, that you have a vital and essential gift to support the well being, the sustainability of the tribe. As such, you are cared as a precious, precious being. Imagine being born and having dozens of eyes that not only care for you, but are devoted to cultivating your curiosity and your awe. As you develop and follow your curiosity and your awe, you discover your gifts, your unique and vital gift, your diamond, your witness, You're in a flow state. As you share your gifts, they are received with appreciation. Imagine that, you doing what you love, you being seen, you being appreciated. You, it's not really back then making a living, but others give you things because you give them something of value, living in cooperation. Imagine that. That's what's being unveiled. That's the immense opportunity before us. So, yes, good people, as we face this crisis, please, 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 pretty please, don't get distracted. Right now, the real war is your attention. The marker, how is your body feel? Are you stressed out? Are you in fear? Are you in anxiety? You're trying to control things that are out of your control. Wasting your resources, your energies. Are you trying to feed that hungry ghost by trying to figure out, trying to meet someone's expectations, trying to play that old bad American dream? It doesn't work. It does not work. The facts are in. Depends who you ask and who does the asking. But the dying of our culture are filled with regret, right? They reach the end of their lives witnessing that they lived under this power over, doing what was expected of them, filled with regret of not doing what they loved, of not staying connected with their loved ones, of working too hard to try to make this money, right? No bueno. No bueno. What is emerging right now is, again, what's going to give you fulfillment in the moment to moment. And again, the whole spiritual bypassing, blah, 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 whole different subject, definitely very important, but it comes back towards truth. Last little story. So we are living in prophetic times, right? Across cultures, geographies, time periods, same story. There will come a time when dark and nefarious forces threaten all that is essential and sacred to life. At this time, a tribe of lovers of wisdom that are willing to stand up and protect all that is essential for life will come together to transform the whole thing. Well, we'll see. We'll see if we get our shit together. Anywho, this story is found in our most beloved movies, right? Whether it's Barbie, Finding Nemo, Luke Skywalker, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. How does the story go? There's the imaginocell, the heroine, the ooze that feels the calling, the inspiration. Usually they refuse the call, and if the story is to continue, they have to find the courage to step into the unknown, to leave behind